5 minutes.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
We're back with the Pay It Forward Society 2012. This is what we're promoting. This is what we need to do, what we're going to be doing on December 21st, 2012. One of the first things that we need to do in order to move to a Pay It Forward Society is get rid of the idea that we own anything, because that is unnatural. We're actually never supposed to own anything.
We're temporal beings. We're only here for a very short time, and we are guests on this planet, and we are simply here using the things around us. We don't need to
like every other animal on the planet. They're just using stuff. That's how we're supposed to be living.
But instead, we have this idea that we need to amass all of this wealth and currency
and that we need to own things.
And property, and it's really a big waste of time for humanity. It's time for us to start doing things in a more productive manner. Number one, letting people just starve to death and go homeless, and that's ridiculous in a civilized society.
Yeah, just because they don't own anything, because they don't have money.
That's silly.
That's stupid.
That's silly. And, you know, when I hear the politicians talking about, oh, you know, my faith and I believe in God, and that to me is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't, how can you say that? You know, and I mean that to every single politician out there right now.
Or just anybody who thinks like this.
Well, I take issue with the politicians, because the politicians sit there and they say they believe in God and they talk about their faith, yet they will let all of these people be homeless, starving, you know, they will let so many go without all over the world, yet they say they believe in God and that, you know, their faith sustains them. Well, you know, no, I think it's your money that is sustaining you. And I think that, I think it's their money that's sustaining them. And I think that they just say what they need to say.
In order to get reelected.
In order to get reelected. But they're not saying what needs to be said. And what needs to be said is we need to stop using currency on this planet. It's completely useless. It's the only people that the currency system is working for is the 1%.
That's true.
Is the people who have a whole lot of it. But then when you think about it, it's silly because
they're controlling, you know, labor and the resources on this planet, and the only reason why they're doing it is to get more control of the resources and labor on this planet.
But they're doing it through amassing currency.
Yeah, through amassing currency and through property rights.
And the problem is we are active participants in that.
We are active participants, and all they have is this tunnel vision. I need to get more, so they're actually evolving or guiding or directing, you know, the evolution of our human species with nothing but greed in mind.
Well, based on their desire to amass more
stuff,
currency, and
with no regard for how we are actually developing as human beings. They don't care whether or not we love each other. They don't care whether or not we're caring about each other, whether we're taking care of each other.
Well, they don't care about that. They don't care if there are naked, starving people. They don't care if there are people being poisoned, you know, to death by, you know, depleted uranium or oil in your streams or bad food and so on and so forth. I mean, there is no organization really to this planet right now. It's just people running amok because you have a very small percentage of humanity
controlling all the resources on the planet.
Controlling all of the resources on the planet, and they know full well they know they got the resources for free. We don't seem to know that.
Yeah,
we seem to think, oh, I have to pay for this.
We owe somebody for the resources that we're using. But they're not. We don't.
And just because, okay, somebody got a bright idea and they printed up some money and they said, you know, I'm going to give $1 to Joe, and Joe's going to go dig a well and get me some oil and then, you know, I'm going to print up some more dollars. I mean, and circulate them around and get everybody.
So they can pay me taxes, right? So we can pay taxes. It's all it's a farce.
And so they can have more money. I mean, the whole point is
facade, people.
It's a mass delusion.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. Money is not real. Nobody owns anything. That's just the simple, plain facts of the matter.
I mean, I don't own anything. You don't own anything.
The 1% doesn't own anything.
But we do need things. We do need things because we are human beings. The animals need things.
We use the resources on this planet.
People need shelter. They need water. They need healthcare. They need things. And we, as a civilized race of beings, at least I thought,
whatever civilized means, I don't know.
Whatever civilized means, but I would
I'm beginning to question what the meaning of that word is, because
sure, but I would hope that we are at a point where we can stop and say, okay, it's time to start providing for everybody on the planet.
That's
because
right.
we can.
Because we can.
Because we have the technology to do it.
Technology to do it.
We absolutely have the talk. We can feed. We have mass production. We can feed everybody. We can clothe everybody. It's completely not helpful to have people coming into this world and them going without, going cold, naked, hungry, as if this is thousands of years ago. Yeah. I mean, you know.
See, but actually, even thousands of years ago, they were at least able to freely use the resources of the planet. Now they can't even do that. So they're
you have to pay for everything. I mean, if you don't have money, you can starve to death. If you don't have money, you can freeze to death.
Which is completely, that's just asinine. It's ridiculous.
There's people sleeping under the bridge in Portland right now.
That's right. I mean, that's where we are. We're in Portland, Oregon.
We have a huge homeless population here, and I'm sure there's a huge homeless population all over this planet, and it just doesn't need to exist. Yeah, we have the materials to build people homes. We have empty homes here in America.
Right now.
Let's fill them up. Let's fill them up. If people need water, let's get them water. This
is not hard.
Let's do the right, civilized thing.
That's what we need to start doing.
And we cannot say, oh, well, we can't do something for lack of money. No. When you say that you can't help somebody because there's no money, and that's what I hear the politicians saying all the time. It's so much garbage. It's like, that is just an excuse to shield you from
common human decency.
Common human decency. Just being a decent person.
Decent.
Don't sit up there and give a speech and say, oh, well, we can't feed these people, and it's going to cost $1 billion to do this and this and that.
When we know these people, they print money out of thin air. That's how fake it is.
Yeah, it's
and they print it whenever they need it. But when we need it, or when most of the 99% needs it, oh, you have to work for it. You have to earn it. And a lot of times, a lot of the jobs we have now are barely paid.
Well, they barely pay anything, or they're meaningless. I have a very meaningful job. I'm a caregiver, but I don't get paid hardly anything to do it. You know, we can think of tons of jobs. I mean, the list could go on and on. All the jobs that are being done in this world that deserve so much more than what they're getting. My point is I believe that people will get up and go to work and participate in society without getting paid. I know I would do that if I didn't have to pay for anything.
That's right.
If I didn't have to worry about my mortgage, if I could go to the store and get food when I needed it, you know, if I could go through life without having to pay for things, I would happily get up and help of whoever I could help.
Worrying about, you know, whether or not I'm going to be able to eat every single night. Sure. Or whether or not I'm going to be, you know.
And no human should have to worry about that, because you don't like to have an empty belly. I don't like to have an empty belly. The point is in a pay-it-forward society, we can do this.
That's
we can just get up and go to work and help people.
It is a misnomer that people will stop being innovative and they will just be lazy if they're just given the basic things that they need to survive. That's a misnomer. It's completely not true. Most people who are happy and healthy want to contribute because it is in our human nature to want to be productive. That's how we've made it this far.
And I think that we can make it a lot further if we move to this system.
So we got to get rid of ownership and get rid of the currency, and we're going to be A-OK.
Then we can actually start talking about how we can begin to be intentional with our evolution as human beings.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And we'll see you on the next show. Maybe we'll be interviewing a few kids.
And other folks.
So look for us.
Okay, thanks. Bye.